Hello, friends. Welcome to your yoga mat. My name is Alicia, and I am so glad that you are here. Today, we are going to do a slow flow practice, a practice around yoga for mental health. So, Sunday, October 10th, was World Mental Health Awareness Day, and I think that all of us, in some way, shape, or form, can relate to whether or not we've had trauma, whether or not we have anxiety or depression or have had suicidal thoughts, whether we feel like we have an army of people surrounding us or whether we don't, we all have had, probably on some level, some experience with just that component of the mind. And so today's practice are poses that really help with that help reduce anxiety, they help reduce feelings of anxiousness and bring us into a state of greater calm. So I want you to come and start in child's pose. If child's pose, have one block. If you have got one, grab that. If you don't worry about it. We won't be using it a ton. We're going to come towards the back of our mat and we're going to bring our big toes together and we're going to start in a child's pose, which is a really great pose to start with. So if your forehead does not touch the floor, then I want you to grab that block and bring your forehead onto the block if you've got it. If this is painful on your knees in any way, you can do what we call puppy pose, where the hips are above the knees. You can let the forearms, if you're in this position, just drape a little bit more. It doesn't need to be quite so active. So now as you start to close perhaps your eyes, I want you just to feel and listen into a space that is not in the outside world anymore. It's internal. We've all had those moments where we have felt we look like we maybe are so confident, but we in that moment are actually feeling quite anxious. Those moments where we might, to others, appear healthy, and at the moment we feel like, where we seem happy and we in fact instead are miserable and we're just putting on a pretty face. And we all are beautiful, but we've also had moments where we look in the mirror and we don't feel like we look that way. We are all, every person out there is fighting their own battle in their own way. And so just having both a deep sense of compassion for others and also first and foremost for ourselves. If there's an intention you want to set for this practice, take a moment. Good. Now, what we're going to do is just walk the hands in just a hair closer. You're going to go over to the right, bring your right forearm down, and sweep your left arm up about parallel to the ground. If you want to cactus it and go a little more open, you can, but just working to get some extension through the left side waist. And then we're going to sweep it over to the other side and do the same thing. So we're going to inhale as we open, and then we're going to exhale as we sweep through. So inhale, open, exhale, sweep through. Inhale, exhale. Let's do one more each side. Breathe in, breathing out. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. Now you're going to inhale, come up if you can, and sit on the shins. Now, if that's too much, you can actually be up on the shins. You don't have to sit back on the heels. I want you to turn your palms up, and you're going to do a breath where we're going to inhale twice through the nose, and then we're going to exhale a little bit longer out through the mouth. It sounds like this. Okay, so just join me. We're going to do about 5 or 6. So keep going. If you've ever heard a child cry, they kind of almost naturally when they're having a meltdown, if you've ever seen one of those. So if you have a moment where you can feel yourself going into fight or flight, do one more. It's a really helpful breath to do. Good. Now take a moment, bring a hand to the heart and a hand to the belly. Another really helpful way to just bring our nervous system back into the parasympathetic, where we can rest a little bit, where we can turn the prefrontal cortex part of the brain back on, is just by placing a hand over the heart. It starts to sync up the brain waves between the heart rhythms and the brain waves, so that they become, let's come to all fours, they become more coherent. All right, so we're going to do what's called a Bhastrika breath, which is kind of more forceful breaths going in through the nose and out through the nose, okay? We're going to do it to cat and cow, and you can go at any speed you want. And if this feels like too much, I just want you to breathe normal, okay? It's not to agitate you. It's just to kind of get a little bit more into the nervous system. So it's going to sound like this. So you can see I'm going a little quicker than like normal cat and cow. But again, if that feels like too much, you go at your pace. So here we go. We're going to go for about 30 seconds. So really starting to find a way, if you can start to deepen the breath. You're not going to probably get as deep into the movement as you typically do when you go slow. That's okay. 5, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So exhale, let all the air out. Now inhale, come to neutral. And then exhale, tuck your toes, sit back on your heels, and if you can, you're just sort of holding the breath for a moment, and then gently let it out. Very good. Walk your hands back towards your knees, and let's come to a forward bend at the back of your mat. I want you to separate your feet a little bit so they're a hair wider than hips width apart. Bend your knees and use either your fingertips and just sway a little bit side to side. You could also have your hands on that block if you've got it. Or if you want to take the ragdoll position where you grab opposite biceps and sway it out. So forward bending is really good. It helps to actually enhance our immunity. It releases the mind and increases the prana, the blood flow to the sinuses. So let that head dangle, that head hit. Okay, let the head dangle. I'm a big fan of humor to help bring us back into the moment. Let your fingertips come down to the floor. Put a gentle little bend in those knees, and let's roll it on up. Shoulders roll back. We're moving on up. Who used to watch that show, The Jeffersons, I think it was? Good. All right, so we're going to interlace the fingers. Feet are still a little wider than our hips. We're going to press our palms forward. Inhale, take your arms to the sky. Take the shoulders out of the ears. Lift the low belly. As you exhale, let's side bend over to the right. Center. Inhale. Side bend over to the left. Center. Inhale. Good. Now you're going to twist. Keep your legs steady. Twist right. Center. Twist left. Center. Inhale. Now you're going to slowly keep the fingers interlaced. Hinge forward. Exhale. Inhale. Come up. Now cactus your arms. Open the chest. Draw the shoulders out of the ears. Breathe in. Now you're going to side bend to the right with your cactus arms. Inhale. Side bend left. Inhale. Twist to the right. Inhale. Twist to the left. Inhale. Hinge from your hip creases. Forward fold. Inhale, come up. Exhale, now sweep your hands behind your back. If you can, you're going to take reverse prayer. If you can't, you're going to hold ragdoll behind you, opposite forearms. Good. Take a breath. Breathe in. Roll the shoulders back and down. Exhale, side bend right. Inhale, side bend left. Inhale, twist right. Keep the legs steady. Twist right. Notice those wrists. So good if you're typing a lot. Back to center and to the left and center. And you're going to hinge from the hip crease. Exhale. Good. Now inhale, come up. Exhale, take these hands now behind you. Bring your knuckles over to the right waistline. Squeeze your elbows together and let your right ear fall towards your right shoulder. Very good. Right ear is falling towards right shoulder. Groin staying back, tail down. Let your knuckles release, chin down. Take a breath, breathe in, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, knuckles over to the left, and our left ear will come to left shoulder. Relax your jaw. Smile from across your collarbones. And if it feels tempting across your face, you can add that in too. Let your knuckles drape behind you. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, forward fold. Let the knuckles, if the shoulders allow, come up and over off the back. You can bend the knees here if you need to. You can rock a little side to side. And then the fingertips are going to come down to the floor. You're going to heel toe your feet so they actually come off of your mat. We're going to squat into a goddess stance, bringing the heels in, toes out, and our hands are going to come up onto our thighs. Place your hands just above those knees, and then dip your right shoulder in. Look to your left. Inhale, center, and dip to the right, or left shoulder dips, looking to the right. Inhale. Right shoulder dips, look left. So we get a nice groin stretch here. Inhale. And we kind of floss that inner medial part of our shoulder blade. Good. One more to each side. Trying not to grip your toes here. Feeling prana and energy moving throughout the spine. You notice that first initial warm-up we just did standing, back to center. Exhale, hands to the heart. You're going to spin the heels out. You're still straddling your mat. And one more time, let those knuckles stretch up and over. So now your feet are a little wider. There might be a little more freedom to fold. So we started just waking up the spine. And then release your fingertips down. Walk your fingertips out. If you can, stay on the fingertips. And you're going to just bend one knee at a time, keeping the opposite leg straight. And when you inhale, straighten that leg you just bent. As you exhale, bend the opposite leg. Inhaling. Now, if you want to go a little wider with your feet, you're not feeling much sensation, you can go a little wider, and that's just fine. So as we do movements where the head is lower than the heart, it's really calming to the mind. So it doesn't have to be that you go upside down, straightening both legs. Walk your hands back. Now, we're going to turn, so you're again still straddling the mat, and we're going to drop that back knee down. You're at the back of the mat. We're going to take the arms up into a crescent lunge, hooking our thumbs, a low crescent Anjaneyasana lunge. You can keep the back toes tucked and pad that left knee if you need to. Lift the chest, lift the torso, breathing in. And now moving prana from the earth, from the ground, up the legs, through the heart, opening up the chest. Good. And then bring your hands to prayer. Breathe in. And left elbow is going to come to the outside of the right leg. Breathing in. Breathing out. Once more, inhale. Exhale. Good. Now fingertips are going to frame down around this right leg. Take an inhale. And take an exhale. Lift your back knee, breathe in. Walk your hands to the inside of that left foot, and we're going to turn around towards the back of the mat. Again, dropping that back knee down to the ground. You're still straddling your mat. We're going to hook the thumbs. I'm going to turn so I'm still facing you, but you're facing the other direction now. So switch your grip. Put your other thumb in front, lifting your sternum, opening up the chest. Bringing yourself into this moment right now. Breathing in, calming the body. Breathing out, maybe a hint of a smile. Hands to prayer. Inhale. And then our right elbow is going to come to the outside of the left leg. We're taking that twist, bringing our thumbs towards the sternum. Left elbow on top of right elbow. And from your left elbow to your left armpit, draw the armpit back. Very good, yogis. And then fingertips down to the ground, and we're going to take that one mindful breath here, breathing in with the fingertips down and breathing out. Good. And then you're going to lift that back knee up, inhale, and walk yourself back to the right so you're straddling your mat, forward fold. This time, take your peace fingers and thumbs around your big toes. So the two fingers wrap under the big toe, the thumb pressing into the ground on the inside, and inhale, heart forward. And exhale, fold and bow. Elbows bend if they've got the mobility here in the hamstrings out to the sides a little bit to create a little more space through the sides of the waist instead of the upper back rounding. Maybe bend your knees. Tilt the sitting bones back. Stretch the heart out of the pelvis, and then bending the elbows out to the side so the shoulder blades connect into the back of the heart, drawing you a little deeper into the fold. Good. Release your big toes. Walk your hands forward. Walk your feet in as we come back onto the mat like an old friend. Good. You can put your knees down here if you like, all the way to the belly. Now we're going to start with some cobras. Now, if it's more comfortable in your body for your hands to come a bit forward, do that. Otherwise, you can keep them back. Lift the shoulder heads up and inhale, peel up, little or a lot, and exhale back down. Again, think of your body moving forward, then up, then back, and down. Now we're going to add in that very first breath, the 2 quick inhales through the nose, followed by an exhale as we release back down out the mouth. Okay, so it's going to feel like the cobra is broken up a little bit. So you're going to come up. When you're ready, come and join me. You might even now begin to sense that there's a pause at the top of the inhale and a pause at the bottom of the exhale. And it's kind of natural that the exhale starts to get a little longer here. So we're giving the kidneys a little squeeze here. One more time. Which sit right below those bottom ribs. Exhale. And so when we start to feel energetically drained, the kidneys get depleted, we're going to come forward with the forearms into Sphinx Pose. Elbows right under the shoulders. And I want you just to stay for a couple of breaths. Nothing fancy. Just breathing in and out. Notice that compression, again, right below where those bottom ribs hit, that the kidneys sit. And if it bothers your low back at all, I just want you to look more down or even towards your belly. Now just breathe normally. In fact, really filling up through what I call the kidney band. So bringing energy, prana. Prana is just the word for energy. Breathe prana into those kidneys. One more breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Very good. Now slide your hands back next to your rib cage. Tuck your toes, send your hips to the heels, and we're going to take our first downward facing dog. And if it's too much in your body for a down dog today, do the puppy pose, or what I call the half dog, where your knees are down. Okay, and the forehead actually can stay lifted this time. Even if you're in the puppy, you could let the forehead stay up if you like. Make it a little more active, hugging the hands in your down dog or your puppy pose. Hug the hands toward each other. Good. Lift your heels, breathe in, and slowly walk forward towards the top of your mat. Stretching the heart forward, breathe in, folding over those legs, and bowing. Now make sure your block is near the top of your mat. I'm going to switch around here, so I'm going to stay facing you and come all the way up to standing Urdhva Hastasana and draw the hands to the heart. Exhale, Tadasana. We're going to come to tree pose, Rakshasana. All right, so I'm going to face you, but you're at the top of your mat. Your block is up there on the right-hand side. We're going to start standing on our right leg. Turn your left toes out. Balance poses are a really great way to bring us in the moment, primarily because it's very hard, start to come into your variation, to think about anything else when you are working to balance, to stay steady. So it starts to really even the mind. Now, if you find yourself falling out and you're getting frustrated, just come back to the breath. Start to really breathe in evenly, breathe out evenly, focus on a point. And even if you fall out, I want you to smile, like, that's fun. One of the things I'm working on, hands are at the heart or maybe they're overhead. One of the things I'm working on to help myself is reframing, right? So you get frustrated with yourself. I had that yesterday. Why don't I have it today? I could reframe it. Today is a different day. Clearly, I'm a little unsteady. I'm going to breathe. Yoga is so good right now, right? You're just reframing it. Take another breath. Good. Now bring this left knee forward. Take an inhale. Bend your standing leg and take a short step back for triangle pose. So not quite as long as a warrior two. The back toes are going to angle in slightly and reach your arms open wide. Push down into your right big toe mound as you extend out with the right fingertips and move the right hip crease back. And the right hand will go down and the left fingertips go up towards the sky. Your gaze is towards the floor, straight ahead or up to your top hand. Breathing in. If you don't have a block, you're just using your shin here. Can even be up on the thigh. So I find the pose will open you more. If I have my hand on the ground and my chest is to the floor, it's not going to give your body the same kind of opening. It's not wrong, just it's not going to be the same opening as if you let your upper body lay back a little bit. Now bend this right knee, one more balance pose, and I want you to take it nice and easy. The block, right hand is going to come forward with that block. We're going to come to half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Back leg lifts up. Again, balance poses are so good. So maybe the left hand for today, it actually just stays on the hip. And you work to carve that outer right hip under. Keep the outer edge of your left foot parallel to the floor. Ignite that back leg a little more. And breathe prana back into those kidneys. See if you can feel your back body a little bit more. Now bend that standing leg. Start to draw the left leg back up into your chest and just hold that leg for a moment. Whether you're steady or unsteady, just hold the leg for a moment. And then exhale, gently release left foot down and your arms are going to come back by your sides. Good. Let's switch sides. So move that block over to the left side of your mat. Tree pose on your left leg. Rakshasana, right leg turns out. Right leg comes up. Now, some days it might feel better, especially if you're feeling unsteady, to just keep the toes on the ground. Firm the outer left hip in. When you do that, you're going to feel a little more awakening through the inseam of the standing leg. It'll also make balance much easier. If you're off balance, I'm just having a moment here. If you're off balance, Remember, today, you're just smiling about it. Isn't that interesting? Firm that outer left leg in a little more. Open the right knee out to the right, just a hair more. Take the tailbone, lengthen it down, drawing your pubic bone up. Very good. Right leg comes forward. Breathe in. You can take the arms up to the sky if you like. And then short-ish step back, about 4 feet roughly. Land that back foot down so the toes are angled in slightly. Take your arms open. Breathe in, reach forward, and left fingertips down to the block for Trikonasana, triangle pose. These top ribs, we're going to melt down a little bit. Anchor into your back foot to help you stretch your heart forward a little more. If you find those front toes gripping like talons into your mat, ease up on the toes. Ease up. Like a soft, loving hand is on that top rib cage. Soften the ribs. Lengthen more space on the bottom. We're coming to half moon. Bend that left knee. Right hand to hip. Now look at your left foot as well. Those left toes, they tend to wander off like a toddler. Lift your right leg up. The toes tend to turn right. So if yours are doing that, I want you to look at them and see if you can bring them back. Point them in the right direction, straight ahead. Wake that back lifted leg up a little bit more as you take the outer left hip under. And it's okay if you fall out. Your mission today when you fall out is to smile. All right, now bend your standing leg. Start to pull your right knee. This is a big transition here, I know. Go slow. Pull the right knee into your chest and just hold on for a moment. Kick the shin out a little bit into those hands to rise up through your spine. And exhale, release right leg down, arms by your sides. Good, now just take a moment, breathe in. Take a moment as you breathe out. Reach your arms up, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Now we're going to come to Malasana, grabbing the block if you've got one or would like to use it for your squat. So feet a little wider, heels in, toes out, palms to the heart. Lift your chest. Nice even breath, nice even inhale, and an even exhale. Once more, inhaling. Exhaling. Good. Now if you're sitting on that block, I want you to bring it forward. And we're going to come down to Baddha Konasana where the soles of our feet are together. You can bring the heels in so they're close to you. Or some days I like to take the variation where it's more of a diamond shape on the legs and the feet are further out. So play around, just make sure you're not getting any pain in your knees. And then if you want to use that block, lift your chest and exhale, fold. Now again, I want you to bring some attention and energy to the kidneys, just breathing a little extra energy and prana into the kidney band. I'm so glad that there is a day that as the world, we collectively are acknowledging mental health. But truly, it's every day, right? Every day, taking time for ourselves, putting a designated amount of time to help our mind and body restore, or connecting with people or resources to feel supported if it's a challenge to do it on our own. Or maybe it's helping someone that you love, right? Finding some help and support for them. Take your hands to the outer knees and gently bring the knees together. Good. We're going to come to the back for a bridge pose. And if you've got the block, I really want you to use it to let yourself relax. Okay, so we're going to come on to the back. So feet are going to be hip width apart. And if you have the block, we're going to take that in hand for Setu Bandha. Pushing down into the feet, lift the hips, and I'm going to just go the lowest level today, but you can go any height you want. We're going to slide that under the sacrum, the low back, so you can kind of feel it right at the top of the butt. And then your arms, make them comfortable. So maybe turning the palms up, work the upper arms maybe in a little closer toward each other. I think one of the hardest things sometimes is asking for help. And reminding myself and each and every one of you in this community, it's okay to ask for help. We've created a society where I think we feel like we're being weak when we ask for help. That we don't have it all together. Heaven forbid we don't have it all together. Those aren't my people. Because I don't really think anybody has it all together. There's just people who pretend like they have it all together. And really having that honest conversation with ourselves. It's okay to call someone up and say, I'm really struggling right now. There's not even anything wrong. My health is good. The kids are good. I've got a good job, but I just feel off. Something just isn't right. Good. And then push into your feet. Lift the hips and slide that block out. Widen your feet so they come as wide as your mat. Cactus your arms and let your inner knees knock in. Take an inhale. Now move energy to the heart. Let your back arch a little more than you might normally. And as you exhale, gently draw the navel back and slightly up and take your knees over to the right. Keep the feet just as they were for a nice thigh stretch. If you would like to hook your right ankle over the left knee, you can. If you're getting any pain in either the knee or the low back, try just unhooking that leg or unhooking the foot. If your foot is hooked, gently let that foot come back down, bring the knees back up. Recenter yourself. Inner knees come back together. Let your back arch for a moment. As you exhale, gently draw the navel back and take the knees over to the left. Option to hook left ankle just above that right knee. Taking long, slow, steady breaths. Coming back to center as you breathe in. Letting your inner knees fall together as you breathe out. Heel toe your feet so they come back to hip width apart. Let your right ankle hook above your left knee and pick your right foot up off the floor. Thread your hands. So right arm will go between your legs and the left hand will go around the outside of your left leg, both grabbing at the back of that left hamstring. And if you really find that the mind is, as we're slowing down even more here, getting just really busy, then I want you just to paint little circles with your left knee. Inhaling, either clockwise or counterclockwise, just little circles with that left knee. And then go the other way. And now see if you can take one full breath where you're just being present with stillness. And let go of the left leg, setting the left foot to the ground. Inhale, reaching right leg up towards the sky. You can either hold behind the hamstring or up towards your calf or even towards the foot. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, letting it go. Bending right knee in, breathe in. Set right foot to floor, exhale. You may find there's a slight tingling sensation going down the right leg just from having it lifted like that. Let's do the second side. Left ankle, flex your left foot, put it just above your ankle, above that right knee. Very good. And then pick your right foot up off the floor. Left arm goes between, right hand around the outside. When you find your mind getting carried away, can you find the pause? Like the pause you found at the top of the... And in that pause, can you reframe? If something's really making you anxious, can you just take a moment and try to think of another alternative, another possibility that feels a little bit more supportive? So that's the question I ask myself. What would be a more supportive thought? I'm not talking Pollyanna positive. I'm just, what would be a more supportive thought? So it starts to turn the brain on, making those circles if that was helpful. Starts to activate again that prefrontal cortex where the mind isn't in the reptilian brain. Go the other way. And it's not necessarily falling back on habit. We're asking it to think a little bit outside the box, right? What would be a supportive thought? Might not be what you want to do or what you do. It's just asking you to think about it. And then take a breath where you're just completely still. Breathe in. Your breath isn't still, just the body. Breathe out. Letting go of the right leg, right foot to floor, left leg to sky, holding hamstring, calf, or foot on the back of your left leg. Breathing in, breathing out. Bending the leg in, setting the foot down. Good. And one of the most lovely poses to do for every single day, helps with so many different things, is legs up the wall, whether it's depression, anxiety, trouble sleeping. We're going to come near a wall, and obviously I don't have an exact wall, but I have a fence. It's going to work good enough. Is this a fence? This isn't really a fence. This is not that. It's, what is it? Oh, it'll come to me. Okay. Now, you can use a blanket under your back. I didn't have you get that, but if you wanted to have a little cushion there, you could. You're going to bring your outer hip, right or left, to the wall. Imagine this is the wall. And then we're going to slide the legs up the wall. And turn the palms up. Close your eyes. The railing, that's what this is. See how it just, you let go of it and then things come to you, okay? All right. So wall, railing, you can even, if you have none of those things, maybe you have a chair, you can bend your legs and let your calves rest on the seat of the chair. It's a lovely position as well, or the bed. And every time as you have legs up the wall for these next few minutes that you notice your mind wandering, gently bring it back to the breath. Gently. You're not frustrated with your mind. You're going to just gently bring it back. Henry David Thoreau once said, "Not until we are lost do we begin to find ourselves." And I think we all have moments, periods of time where we feel lost. And if we could reframe that it's in those times that we're trying to find ourselves in that time. We're trying to realign and connect with what's important to us, what's meaningful. And sometimes we can feel stuck because where we are and where we want to go, it feels like a really big gap. Or maybe we don't even want to know where we want to go. And then that feels confusing. Whatever your journey may be in this moment, I'm here to remind you to give yourself some grace, to give yourself some kindness and some love. Because in this moment, you're doing the best you can right now. Now you can stay here as long as you like. If you want to scooch back into Shavasana, you could do that too. But if you're wanting to allow your practice to come to an end, gently let your soles of your feet come together up the wall so that you're in butterfly pose with the outer edges of your feet connecting the wall. And then gently use your hands to help you bring your knees together and carefully roll to the side so you're coming onto the right side. Pressing your way back up to an easy seat. Palms together at your heart. It's so important that we just open the door and ask each other how we're really doing. When you notice someone says fine, you give them that look and you say, are you really okay? Opening that door to have these conversations where we aren't feeling ashamed of not being okay. We never know what someone's going through. Just like they don't know what you're going through. So take a moment and I want you to breathe into your heart. And then as you take an inhale, let your thumbs draw up towards your third eye, moving that heart energy up to the wisdom third eye center. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for the courage to step on your mat and take this time for yourself. Not until we are lost do we begin to understand ourselves, remembering that it is through our process, it is through transformation that each of us begins to grow and evolve. Thank you for being here. Namaste. Thank you, yogis.